with Coach Mangini. We're going viral, Coach. NFL owners approved a new rule that'll make both offensive and defensive pass interference calls reviewable, leading to speculation that teams will have somebody on staff looking at every pass play for a chance to challenge. Well, at least one team is already planning to do just that. Bob Labriola from Steelers.com tweeted that Mike Tomlin plans to use defensive assistant Terrell Austin in that capacity in 2019. Now, Nick, you've thrown your hands up. I know it. This is exactly what you said. This is your dream
No,
job.
not exactly what he said. Exactly what Chris said.
What?
No.
I said someone on the coaching staff.
Yes.
He's on the coaching staff. I know Terrell Austin.
Right. Agreed. You
said hire some.
No, I said they're going to have someone on the staff who's
dedicated.
This is their entire
No, you
job.
said add someone to the staff. I said have one the defensive.
Okay.
I said,
Let's just focus on this for a
good
moment.
Lord.
What are they doing?
It is the worst job that you can have to be that dude.
What, the Photoshop?
No,
Okay.
well, the Photoshop guy is horrible.
the replay coach.
Whoever that person who's in that position, because you're only going to get credit when it's wrong. Like that's the only time they're gonna be on you. You're not going to get the.
You're trying to take. You can't take credit for that.
The head coach.
You said hire someone, add someone to the staff. I said you already have staff, and you already have coaches up there. Have one of the other coaches do it. Is that not what I said?
You did say that. You misunderstood what I was advocating for at the time. It's no problem. It's no problem. I said I think they need to have someone, whether on the staff or not, that is their only job. That is what they do. All they do on game day is that.
I think the Photoshop is actually pretty good.
I'm fascinated by it. You're not looking right at the ref, though. Like who?
I am looking at the ref, Jenna. It's a 2D image that portrays a 3D image.
I think
so
that's the
You're
body
looking at the
type,
wrong
right?
person. That's your first problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Photoshop continues
To
confuse Jenna Wolf the way
I got your beard, everything
And
nice.
the
good.
body
All right.
is accurate.
the body is not accurate.
If you were coaching football, that's how your body.
Oh, okay. Just as soon as you become a coach.
I'm an expert at this. There's a reason.
I was
Sticking
once
with
ripped,
Yes.
the Steelers.
then I became a coach.
Yes.
All right, guys, let's talk a little Big Ben. That was funny. Both Lev Bell and Antonio Brown are gone, so all focus has turned back to the Steelers quarterback. His leadership, or his lack thereof, has been a big topic of discussion this offseason. A number of former Steelers have shined light on Roethlisberger's questionable ways, while multiple current Pittsburgh players have defended the QB. Mike Tomlin was asked about Ben. Take a listen.
I have no problem with his play or his leadership. I've heard some of the scuttlebutt in which you mentioned. I'm focused on the guys that are within our group and on our team. I think that's what's appropriate for me. I have no reaction to former Steelers and things of that nature. We were a 9-6-1 football team last year. We all need to look in the mirror in terms of what we do and how we do it, starting with me. And so that's the approach that I'm taking. That's the approach that I'll ask him to take, and not in response to any criticism from the outside or anything of that nature, just doing what's appropriate in terms of us being as good as we need to be.
Sounds like he's saying all the right things, Coach. What do you think about what Mike Tomlin had to say?
I agree with Mike Tomlin. Ben Roethlisberger has played 15 years. He's played with probably 1,000 guys. The guys that are most outspoken are two disgruntled guys. One who sat out the whole season and one who wanted to get traded. And you could look at the way that they handled their approach to the team, whether it was missing the last game of the season, whether it was deciding to sit out, however you want to view that. I don't know if you would argue those were the best teammates in the world, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. He's played 15 years. He's won every year except one season. He's had one losing season over that time. He's played with a lot of different types of guys. I haven't heard the one about he deliberately tried to fumble. I just went and watched that clip. He was supposed to reverse pivot, and he opened up the wrong way. It didn't look like there was any intent to fumble on his part. So to me, is it perfect? No. But is the Steeler way of doing things always perfect? No. We've always said they have a different way of
They have
conducting.
a different family dynamic.
Different family dynamic, and they're willing to talk about family business outside of the house, and that's how they do things. Is it perfect? No, but I am more in Tomlin's camp on this.
But when you have a family dynamic, good, bad, or indifferent, who sets the dynamic? The parents. And for the last decade, who have been the parents of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger. So, and I disagree with you that it's only Bell and Antonio that have talked about this. A lot of former Steelers. Well, Ryan Clark's talked about this. Hines Ward's talked about this.
When Ryan Clark's comments were nowhere near.
No, not
nowhere even in the realm of the other two guys.
Agreed. No. Those guys are the most recent and certainly for AB the most inflammatory. I don't think Le'Veon Bell had really inflammatory comments. He was just like, I wish we were better buddies. You know what I mean? I wanted us to be closer friends. Antonio's the one that's taken a flamethrower to Big Ben. And Antonio has obviously his own issues as a teammate, his own off-the-field issues. He is not the perfect messenger for this. But I don't think it's all made up. I think what Big Ben is a first-ballot Hall of Famer, great quarterback that the Steelers wouldn't, there's not 7 guys in the league they would trade him for. They love him. They also know when he's not in the building, there's some extra maintenance that whether it's ego, personality, or just the way he thinks, maybe he thinks this is how I lead, that is going to come into play that does not come into play with Eli or Brady or a lot of our other quarterbacks that seem to handle their business in a more typical quarterback professional manner, but Tomlin's doing what he has to do, which is protect his guy. Tomlin's always kept his side of, I will always protect my players. Now, Big Ben hasn't always kept his side of, I will always protect my coaches, but Tomlin understands that's the cost of doing business with Ben Roethlisberger, and in large part, that's business, to quote Antonio Brown, has been booming the last decade, so it's been worth it.
My experience with NFL players, especially ones that have been inside that locker room, they understand the dynamic. I put a lot of weight in what they say. I tell, forget all the people on television, whatever their opinions are about Ben Roethlisberger and Pittsburgh and what they got on, forget all of them. Like, disregard all of them. I'll disregard Antonio and Bell because they were different in their approaches, but I will disregard all the information. Every great leader that I have seen, everyone would always question something about him. LeBron James every day of the week. I believe LeBron's a great leader. I talk to his teammates, people that won with him. Man, I believe LeBron's a great leader. I believe Tom Brady's a great leader. But there are complaints about both of them. There's complaints about LeBron. There's complaints about Tom Brady and his leadership. When they get rid of all these players in New England, why doesn't Tom ever say anything? When they bench Malcolm Butler and jeopardize his chance to win his 6th Super Bowl, why didn't Tom Brady say something? He didn't say anything until after the fact. So great leadership, still question. I believe Ben is a good leader, but there have been things that he has done that you can question. Great leadership doesn't come without being tested or questioned. So us saying that Ben Roethlisberger, we're not talking about how he played on the field. He's a tremendous football player. He's always there when you need him, has been there in big game situations, has the longevity, all those things. But just because we say we question things he did, all his leaderships are in question. Tom Brady, man, he could have been stepped up. He's the one that could face Belichick. He won one argument, the Jimmy Garoppolo thing. That was the only time because that had to do with him. But no one else he stepped up for. He just loud guy, Wes Welker, best friend, let him go. Gronk, if Gronk had a new contract, Gronk wouldn't be retiring. But because of the way they've done things there, so we can't expect always for people to have great leadership that people won't question them once they're out the door, Coach.
And what everybody forgets is a locker room is a very diverse community. It's diverse culturally, it's diverse in terms of the age, it's where people come from, so not everybody is going to relate
Coach,
to
in an
people
NFL
the same way.
room, wouldn't you say there's a lot of cliques? Like there's like 5 to 7 like different cliques or groups of guys.
And sometimes they're radically different. There's guys that are extremely religious. There's guys that really like the nightlife. There's the ones that are trying to figure out how they fit in.
There's certain parts of the locker room they call the suburbs. They call one end the high-end district, one end they call the projects.
The people that make a ton of money.
Yes.
People that don't make very much
People don't
money.
Clean up themselves. So there are a lot of different groupings inside
what was the
of
last
that.
one?
Clean up their area. Clean up their area around their life.
They're not clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're trying to navigate through all those things. And look, at the end of the day, it's called leadership, not friendship. And you're not gonna necessarily endear yourself to everybody in the room. But at the end of the day, you're trying to get everybody to go in the same direction. And people approach it differently. Look, if Bill Belichick wasn't winning the way he was winning, and I was with him when he was in Cleveland and he wasn't winning, they didn't like his leadership very much. But once you start winning,
great example.
Suddenly it's, wow, this is inspiring. This must be the way it is. They write books about you, you know, all those things. You lose a little bit. It's like, well, he's lost his edge. He's not friendly enough to the players. So it's easy to criticize the person who's in front of the room. But go ahead and step up and you get in front of the room and let's see how well you do in comparison to my style.
Look, this is what we saw with Kyrie Irving this year. You want to be a leader, try to be a leader. It didn't quite work. He had to take a bit of a step back. Coach, thanks for hanging with us today.
All right.
Take a break. Coming up, Kobe Bryant weighs in on the GOAT